What is good, YouTube, man? Today I got us another interesting video on the topic of yet again the Raiders defense. All right. Um this is it's on the defense, but it's mostly singled out on one player who I really think is just going to take off next year in a huge way, and it's a guy from our 2019 draft class. Um As we all know, Jonathan Abram did not play much in 2019. He played about 3/4 of our season opener against the Broncos, and he tore all kinds of stuff in his shoulder. But in that game, he showed us a lot. And then last year, he also showed us a lot. He also showed us some things that he isn't that good at. And we're going to touch up on some things. So, Gus Bradley, as we all know, there's three dominant parts of this defense. You have to have a dominant linebacker, you have to have a dominant defensive tackle, and you have to have a dominant free safety. And we have one out of the three. We can fix all three out of the three this offseason pretty simply, and it's already good that we have a step ahead because we have Jonathan Abram. So what I want to talk about is in this scheme. I talked about this before explaining Gus Bradley's scheme, but there is always 8 men in the box in this Gus Bradley defense, and the 8 guys that will be in this box are going to be Crosby, Hurst, Cleveland, Littleton, Nick Kwiatkowski, Abram, either Morrow or a draft pick, and the other defensive tackle is either going to be Hankins or a draft pick or somebody that we trade for. So in this defense, you really need to have a very good, strong safety. The reasoning behind that is that strong safeties in the league right now, they're really just hybrid linebackers. They're just really quick linebackers with extremely quick feet. They're safeties and they're DBs because they can cover a bit better than linebackers. Jonathan Abram last year, we seen him. He made a couple big hits. He had a couple interceptions, and he's overall a good player. What I really like about Gus Bradley is that I've explained this before. He allows his players to succeed in their positions, and what I mean by that is that, let's say you aren't the best in coverage, right? Man on man. Well, his defense isn't meant for man on man. It's a zone scheme. So it's allowing you to just make plays in your small patch of the field, and that's all you have to rely on. You don't have to go 15 to 30 yards downfield on the post. You don't have to go 35 to 50 yards down on the street. You really just cover your zone. And I really like that about this defense because it allows the less talented to really step up and succeed. So what I want to talk about with Jonathan Abram is we look at what he did last year. He was played out of position, just like many people in that terrible Paul Gunther scheme. He was played as a deep high. I understand why he was played as a deep high. You maybe thought that Eric Harris was not it, which he wasn't, and maybe you thought that he was still a better option than Jeff Heath. In my opinion, we should have been playing Jonathan Abram in the box since last year. Jeff Heath proved that he can be at least a viable option in the free safety position last year. He proved it. When he got his chance, he proved it. He led our team in interceptions. He literally, I'd say he won us the first game against the Broncos because you look at his interceptions, they completely changed the outcome. You look at his interceptions, they were driving down the field on our defense, picked them off at the goal line right before half. That took everything away from them. I do like Jeff Heath. If he's back on this team, let's say we don't cut him, that's fine. He's a very good rotational player. But back to Jonathan Abram. So in this defense, what's really dominant is that you need that linebacker. The reason why you need that linebacker is because there's parts of this scheme, which is the seams, that really are the only gaps. Now, if your free safety can play everything, then there are no gaps in this defense besides the middle. The middle where you have your linebackers in. Now they're gonna try and take shots at your less athletic players. So look, when you look at Gus Bradley's defenses before that were successful, he had Cam Chancellor, he had Richard Sherman, and he had Earl Thomas. Why was the Seahawks so successful in forcing people to go deep? Because players did not want to go through the middle and have to get hit by Cam Chancellor. Quarterbacks did not want to throw into Cam Chancellor's way because they didn't want their players to get hurt. Cam Chancellor was a hitter. He was a headhunter. He seen you and he wanted to take your head off. That's the kind of player that Cam Chancellor is. Thankfully, we have that in Jonathan Abram. Now, you play Jonathan Abram in the box this year, that's what he's going to be able to do. So let me explain this. You're going to have 4 people dropping into coverage in the front 7. So your front 7, or actually in this scheme, there's 8 people in the box. But you're going to have, at right outside linebacker, you're going to have Corey Littleton dropping into the flats. At left outside linebacker, it's either going to be a draft pick or Nicholas Morrow. I think we would re-sign him if we don't think about a draft choice. It'll be right outside linebacker, Corey Littleton, Nicholas Morrow at the moment at left outside linebacker. Nick Kwiatkowski shares middle of the zone in the linebacker position, and Abrams comes down into the middle of the field with Nick Kwiatkowski to cover that. Now, you have a very scary player in Jonathan Abram. Players aren't. He already solidified himself this year as a guy who can hit. He hit the best of them. He hit Kareem Hunt. He hit CMC, Christian McCaffrey. He was hitting people, man, and people felt it. He is a solidified hitter in this league. You need to put him in the box. That is where he's going to succeed. There is nothing wrong with having an elite run-stopping player. You look at what Jamal Adams was able to do with that Seahawks team. They were struggling without him in the first half of the season. One of the worst defenses in the NFL. He came in after his injury, and he became this elite box player. There is nothing wrong with having that. He had almost 10 sacks. What is wrong with having a player who isn't your defensive lineman, who isn't your linebacker, that can get sacks? There is nothing wrong with that at all. Now, thankfully for us, Jonathan Abram is faster than Jamal Adams. He is basically the same in physicality. He can cover better than Jamal Adams. If you put him in the middle of the field with Nick Kwiatkowski, which he will be playing, he will succeed. Let's talk about it a little bit more. In this system, he's going to be sharing the middle with Nick Kwiatkowski. Then he's going to still have free safety help over the top, whether it's a draft choice that we pick in with our deep high safety, or whether it's other guys like in free agency. There's multiple people that we can go out and get that free safety role. But you have Jonathan Abram and Nick Kwiatkowski in the box making plays. I guarantee you, we haven't seen Jonathan Abram force a fumble. We've seen him get interceptions. We've seen he has 2 interceptions in his career, which is more than Jamal Adams. But Jonathan Abram, you put him in the middle of the park with Nick Kwiatkowski to cover that middle, we will now have a very, very solid linebacking core. Just let's speak hypothetically now. You go into the season next year, and your 3 linebackers and your basically your 4th with Jonathan Abram. Your starters are going to look like Corey Littleton, who's going to excel in a defense that's very similar to what he played in before. Nick Kwiatkowski already excelled in this defense. Then you're going to have Jonathan Abram and possibly either Micah Parsons or Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. And if you don't get any of those 2 draft choices, you re-sign Nicholas Morrow. He has proved what he can be in this defense, and I really like him. You let Nicholas Morrow walk if you can get Jeremiah. If you can get Micah Parsons, you let Nicholas Morrow walk in a heartbeat. Those guys are better than Nicholas Morrow. It sucks because we could have used Nicholas Morrow before when we actually needed him. But this year, thankfully, in the offseason, it's falling all into place for us, man. This free safety draft class and free agency class is very, very, very strong for what we need. Defensive tackle, that's going to be the hard part to solidify. But Jonathan Abram in this defense next year will prove why he was a first-round safety. Not many safeties are going the first round anymore. The last couple safeties, I believe, were Derwin James and Jamal Adams. He has some big shoes to fill in. On top of that, he feels the pressure of wearing that number 24 on his back. He knows what that means to the Raiders' legacy. He knows what that means to the franchise. He knows what that means to us as supporters of the Raiders. He knows what he has to do, and he's working on it. You put him in a place to succeed in the middle of the field where he's not playing 18 yards behind the play. You put him 10 yards in front of the play, he's gonna cause fumbles. That's something we haven't seen him do. I guarantee you next year he will cause some fumbles and he will make plays. We've seen him get interceptions. I like this a lot because he is not the elite deep safety. He can cover, but he is not a deep safety. He is a guy who wants to take your head off, who will go after you, and he has the highest motor on this team, and it's unmatched. Some other players, we have a high motor team. That is good. But you look at him, and you look at him every week. Who was the guy that was always trying to get after that ball carrier no matter what? It was Jonathan Abram. And, I mean, you put him in the middle of the field to split in between Nick Kwiatkowski, who is very good in coverage. Our defense becomes from terrible to at least average, minimum. Another thing I want to touch up on real quick is that the more I look at it, I don't think we should get Richard Sherman. I don't think we should have just wasted a first-round pick in Arnett, because in this scheme, real quick, Arnett will be off the field if we get Richard Sherman. That's how it is. There's only 2 corners and 1 deep safety. There's not as many DBs as we used last year. Last year there was 3 or 4. This year it's only going to be 2. So I think we don't go out and get Sherman and you really try and develop Arnett. That's what I feel real quick on Arnett. But yeah, man, honestly, Jonathan Abram next year will be a very good player for us, and people will finally stop getting at him, man. He has some big holes to fill, man. He has big shoes to fill. He knows what he knows what this 24 means. And I always like it because he's always after that ball when he's in the game. Sometimes it makes him miss tackles, but that's his game, man. This is the thing. You don't want a guy who's going to miss tackles and he's the last line of defense. Worst case scenario now, if Jonathan Abram misses a tackle, he's going to be followed up by Nick Kwiatkowski, Nicholas Morrow, and other players to take that tackle. He's going to take heads off next year. He might get fined, but oh well. That's what it's like being a Raider, man. You have to embrace the badness in being a Raider. You have to embrace the physicality in the history of being a Raider, man. And that's what he is, and that's what he'll be. He'll be a Raider. What I really like about this team is there's multiple players on this team that come here and say, I'm a Raider for life, man. This team is hungry. You put some leadership around them. You put some experience around them. You put some more talent around this defense, and we're gonna have a minimum of an average defense next year. And after that, average isn't good enough. And these players know that. So I would not be surprised if we go from last year, from the 30th ranked defense, all the way up to top 10. Because these players are tired of being trash. These players are tired of being average. They're tired of getting by. We're going to have a good team next year. And most of all, our defense is going to make plays. Especially Jonathan Abram. I think Jonathan Abram is already the heart of this defense. And he will become the heart of this secondary, of this revolutionized defense, man. Jonathan Abram plays inspired. He's a good player, and he is very talented. I just want you to know that you put Jonathan Abram 10 yards in front of that play instead of 18 yards away from that play, he's making more plays. He's making more hits. He is a solidified hitter. Players are going to know that. They're going to go down instead of trying to go head-on-head contact with him. He is going to scare people, man. Jonathan Abram, you put him in the middle of the field, then you have a true Raider linebacking core. You have a linebacking core that now has that scary look again. You want teams to be afraid. You want, in this defense where there are barely any holes, it's basically saying, listen, We believe in our free safety. If you won't pass short, go deep. We're gonna make a play. That's what I love about this defense. It makes your players make plays. What else do we want? There's nothing short. Go deep. It's our defense taunts teams. It's a slap in the face. I love this defense, man. It's a very good defense. It's literally, we're telling you what to do. We're telling you what we're going to do. We're going to cover everything short. Try and beat us deep. That's what it's a, hey, we're trying to test you. That's what this defense is. And if a team does try to go short on us, guess what? We got Abram in the middle of the field to hit you. We got Nicholas Morrow, or we got any other draft choices that will cover. We got Corey Littleton that will cover. We got Nick Wachowski that will cover. If you tell me that this run defense won't be better with 8 men in the box, and now you have Abram in the box all the time now, this defense, man, is gonna be good, and I think it's gonna be better than what we think. I think we have very low expectations. We're all talking about, bro, just give us a top 10, a top 15 defense. Just give us an average defense. Listen, I agree. Average will get us into the playoffs. Average will win us one playoff game. We need a top 10 defense to win a Super Bowl. That's the reality. The reality, I get it. As a Raider fan, we all just want to see a playoff win now. No, we need to see a Super Bowl. We don't have these players for a long time, man. We don't have these guys. A lot of our guys are on rookie deals, bro. Once these rookie deals are up, hey, I don't know where this cap is going to be at in 3 years when we need to pay Josh Jacobs, where we need to pay Max Crosby, Cleveland Furrow, Jonathan Abram. These contracts add up, bro. So we got to see. These guys are going to excel in this Gus Bradley defense. And like I said, Jonathan Abram is the guy we should look out for, because he will be in the Pro Bowl next year. He will be turning heads. That's what I feel like. In this defense, he's going to excel. I think he's going to have the biggest breakout next year, and we don't even know it yet. But yeah, Raider Nation, let me know in the comments what you guys think about the video, what other players I should talk about. Do you guys like this defense? I mean, let me know. Just let me know in the comments. Subscribe if you can, so you can get the notifications when I post a video. And even if you don't get the notification, it'll just pop up in your sub box. So, yeah, man, let me know in the comments what you think. Do you think that Jonathan Abrams is going to blow up next year? I think he will. Let me know in the comments if I'm crazy. And also, let me know who we should get to fill in those holes. Like I said, there's 3 main guys that you need. You need a strong defensive tackle, you need a strong linebacker, you need a very good safety. So let me know who are those players that we can fill in with. Thank you.